Hey,
Hey, buddy.
look who's here. So,
So, yeah, am
wait,
I back?
I
So,
just
are
wanted,
you
I
good?
just,
Are
I,
you,
no,
are
I just
you
want to know.
opening? Am I opening? What's happening? What are we
I
doing?
just want to
Yeah.
know how much was bail, and how much is Nate out because of bail? How much are we down?
We behaved above and beyond the call of duty without fail. You'd be very proud.
So JV's back too.
Well, I mean, yeah, we lost her in Virginia on the way home, but we got her back. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah,
South of the border didn't
yeah,
trap you guys.
yeah. So for those of you, who don't, I think everybody at this point probably has some idea that we decided during the holidays with the flights and watching flights get canceled and COVID overbookings and all the things with airlines. Not to mention, we have to get everybody that went down there. So when we were looking, we're like, I think at one point, Robert, it was like 850 a head to go one way, Logan to Orlando, and we're like, just all of it was stupid. And I'm just like, we got to be better about this and just do, And I didn't even say anything. Although Nathan had just driven to Orlando with his family for Disney. So he's like, what if we drive? And I'm like, I'm your Huckleberry. Like, I'm dumb enough to do that. Yeah. So, and then there at one point it was going to be Nate's F-250, lovely vehicle, super comfortable. There's a seat massager that I'm in a deep, intimate relationship with at this point. Her name is Constance. We'll get to that later. And the other, we're going to get like a Sprinter or something to put some other people in. Then people decided with time frames and stuff, they're going to fly. So some of us flew. On the way down, it was Nathan, Brad, JV, and I. And then in the interest of time and business, Bradley had to fly home. So he flew home, and it was me and JV and Nathan. We got back yesterday. So it stacked on 2 days down, 2 days back. Could we have driven straight through? Sure. Here's another thing. If you know anything about Nathan Dickey, when I tell the analogy of the disc, right? When we talk about the disc and the different personalities, high D, high I, high S, high C, I always start with the high D. It's Nathan. He's driving, he's speeding, and Anthrax is cranked. And that's what happened. When you carpool with Nathan Dickey, first he drives, then he drives. Then after lunch, he drives. And then we stop to get gas and take a pee break. And then he drives. He drove the whole way. So on the way down, we went Portsmouth to Florence, South Carolina. God bless him, right? Probably about 14 hours. We got there, crashed. Like 11 o'clock hotel, crash, wake up, get back in the car because we had morning calls we had to be on in the vehicle. It's a rolling office, Robert. And then we got to Orlando the next day. That was Thursday. And then the event started because Nathan and Jeffrey had a Gary mastermind on Friday. And then we're up and away through the whole event, and then drove back after the golf event Tuesday, after the morning inspiration. We did Wednesday, got to Laurel, Maryland, and then finished it off yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you thought that Nate just likes cars and he's got more than the average bear, he loves to drive and he's a control freak and a rock star, because like we would just get to be passengers. Yeah, I mean this is the extent of my contribution to the event. I got some of these on the way back. I was like a 4-year-old. We stopped for lunch. I get chicken fingers. Yeah, it was like I was on vacation with my parents.
Oh my God.
And on the way down, you'll love this. On the way down, we stopped in South Kakalaka because we saw a moonshine hut.
Oh my God.
So I got us some. It is Sundog 130.
Oh my God.
Made in the woods of South Kakalaka. So if you have a 430 with me on Friday in the office and you're thirsty and it's in person,
130.
yeah. I mean, as a joke, I was going to open it and put some behind my ears, but I think it might burn behind my ears. So
Yeah, that's like acidic to the point of like,
yeah,
you're done.
It's going to be interesting. So then we get back, and I'm excited to get back because just said to Nathan yesterday, I'm like, I'm just so excited to just go in. And we knew the weather was coming, but I'm thinking maybe it won't be that bad. Just excited to go in and just sit behind the desk and reset, and then we decided to do what we did with the office. So I decided to stay home because if you don't know, when I go to Orlando, weird things happen. So last time we went to Orlando was probably 7 years ago, and it was on that trip. God bless him because he's involved this time too. My father-in-law put gas in the oil on the snowblower. I think I've told you this story. Yeah, so that was an expensive trip to Orlando.
Oh man.
This trip, um, was it Saturday? Janina calls me Saturday. She goes, I woke up and the house is cold. So the controller on our furnace, but luckily we're very fortunate. We have two systems, one for downstairs for the old people, and then we have a central air system for upstairs. So the other furnace is going, we're fine. And my good friend Tim Murphy, great dude, by the way, if you need somebody in the Dover area, he swung through and he's been working on it. My system is rather antiquated since the build of the house, built in '98. So it's what do we call it, kids? Beyond its life design. So he's looking for the parts. I think we have something coming in from Guam today, and we'll be back up and running. Yeah. So the cats and I are marching around in our snow pants. And then the other thing, this is not funny, but we're very happy that it wasn't what we thought it was. I also then on Sunday, we had some main stage events, the vision speech and stuff like that. And then we're going back to the hotel. The region was doing Top Golf and ready to go to Top Golf. Why wouldn't I want to go to Top Golf? Nathan put on a great event, by the way. If you're from the region or from the market center, you were there. It was amazing. I wasn't. I got a text from my son. He's like, mom's taking their Australian grandfather, we call Poppy, taking Poppy to the hospital. So he was going to the hospital and he was in the yard. We don't know the whole story still, really. He was in the yard and he came in, couldn't breathe, and had pain in his torso. So we thought wet knees. We thought he dropped to his knees, right? Because the driveway at this point is all melted. If you were here last week, it was all melted. It was 60 at one point. He was walking in the yard and fell on some ice. And what we thought had presented as a heart attack. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, well, I'm not going to Top Golf. So I was just waiting for her to update me. They ran all the scans. He broke his, I'm going to get the other number wrong, his T9 and his T something else. He's got a fractured spine.
Oh, geez.
So I'm home. The kids are home. The cats are home. We got a furnace to fix, and I've got a broken father-in-law in the house. So, yeah, I love Orlando. Can't wait to go back.
This is what happens when you leave.
Oh, Janina's just like, you haven't traveled since COVID, and you leave, and my dad breaks, the furnace breaks, all the things. Thrilled to be back. Great trip. All the content. If you have access to the digital ticket, go back and watch all of it. Gary was phenomenal. And if for no other reason, I don't know if people caught it or not, if you didn't, Gary did the CV portion, career visioning. And in career visioning, when we go through the KPA and we validate your KPA, there's a portion of the long form KPA validation where they do what is called getting the life story and getting the book, where you sit and you talk to somebody. And when I meet you guys for the first time, I say, get me from high school graduation to this conversation. We do it in about 30 minutes. Long form, that could be about an hour. And then you go up to an easel and you have somebody take you all the way through their employment history, right up to what they earned, what they learned from those experiences. And he did all of that. So if the day before that event, you liked Mark King, there's no way you don't love him now. And Nate joked about this on the way home. Jested about it, I suppose. Didn't joke about it because it's serious. He's like, I feel like I didn't suffer enough as a child to be successful in this company, because Mark King is at least one of three people in the last year that I've learned that lived in his car at one point. Our president. So like, he's just a phenomenal guy. If you get a chance to go back and watch Gary do the CV, that section of the career visioning process with Mark King, lights out. And that's why we teach that. So when you guys are hiring people, that seems like a lot of work. Well, you also really learn about the person. And if nothing else, even if you do decide they're not a fit for the role, like Gary said, there's no such thing as a bad hire. There's such a thing as a bad match. And that process, I think that opened a lot of people's eyes. And I got a lot of requests for updated KPAs, or can you send me my new KPA and all that kind of stuff while we were gone. So I'm happy to see that people are plugging back into that. I'd say that was really good. Them admitting that the tech is not one size fits all. And we knew that, and they've been saying that, but for them to finally come out, Robert, and be like, yeah, this is not, this is going to be the source of the source, as it were, right? You're going to be able to plug all your things in. They're not going to fight it. Like if you're using Brevity at a high level, they're going to make it super sexy and user-friendly to plug Brevity into, rather than having to move stuff and then move it into, opportunities and stuff like that.
Are you sure you want to put those words out into the universe? That's a
Yes.
pretty big statement.
Yep. Yes. Yep. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
1,000%.
can't wait then. because
It's
you know
I'm
we
sure. Well, no, you're our tech guy. I bet you can probably wait. Yeah. Um,
yeah, well, I mean, well,
I
hopefully,
stopped
you
for a
know,
reason, Robert, because I love you. Yeah. So,
hopefully the integrations will be smooth. I think that's the only thing that I care about. I
yeah,
want the integrations. I want people to be able to work the way they want to work
yep,
and do the things they need to do in the level and the comfort that they're where they're at.
mm,
But I also want it to work so that they can come and bring that stuff to our system and it doesn't fight with them.
yeah, yeah.
That'll be
So, I mean,
great.
yeah, they've been holding off on a lot of things. They made leaps and bounds with some of the stuff with command, and to see there were two different sessions for command that Chris Cox, who's um, chief information officer, and then of course Matt Green, who's in charge of he's head of agent experience. The two of them working together is such a wildly different experience. Our our former head of tech. With the and this is why Matt Green's so integral in this conversation in this relationship. Matt Green having the real estate background, Chris Cox comes in from you know other industries. At the same time, he's bringing the heavy tech knowledge in, and then Matt Green's helping to massage that and make it work. Where before it was very single minded, and single pathway, and somebody who didn't have any real estate background. And I think they were realizing that disconnect was starting to move us off course.
Hmm.
So I think that's wildly important. I think it's a blessing that we have at our market center too. Is the guy that drove us down 95 and drove us back up 95 was an agent first and knows what he's talking about and really cares about the agent. So that's super important. That was really cool. I think, before we move on, we want to talk about the schedule. We're going to dig into more family reunion stuff next week for sure.
Hmm.
Nathan is going to join me Thursday afternoon, just to hit Gary's slides and go back in and get deep thoughts from Nathan Dickey, because I think that's really important. And for him to have time to marinate on everything. So that'll be next Thursday. I'll look for that in the schedule. And then the other really cool thing, and I've been saying this for probably 38 years, healthcare is coming. Healthcare is coming. Healthcare is coming. And they have finally put together KW Perks. If you go to kwperks.com. Now, I've heard mixed reviews. I looked, it looks just like the marketplace. Or I looked and it looks very similar to the national healthcare, what people refer to as Obamacare. I would argue that if you dig deep and really look at it, there are some areas where you can really save money. Some of you, it's not a thing. You don't have to worry about it because your loved one supports you and has the opportunity to support you with healthcare. If that's the deal, good for you. If you're thinking, oh my God, this is cool and it's a little less expensive and I really want it, I think with that conversation and what Nathan's putting together for everybody in the market center who can lean into now life insurance as well, there's a lot of opportunity to really make this feel more secure and more like you have a business and you have the backing of Gary and Nathan with these two opportunities to really start to insulate yourself and build a team and a resource. When people join you, there's all these other things that you don't get at typical brokerage. Most market center ownership are not putting together life insurance for their agents.
Hmm.
And now I'm telling you right now, they're going to come on it real fast. They're going to come very quickly to say, okay, we have it too. All the other big companies are now going to put together something for their people, for for healthcare. I can tell you, Gary's been working really hard on this for years, and it's finally here. So go to kwperks.com, take a look, see if it's for you. If for no other reason, if you have nothing right now, and you could fall and get hurt, break your back, as it were, as my father-in-law did, you might want to look into something a little bit better than hoping for the best. Or I'll rub some
Hmm.
dirt on it. So, but that's probably one of the coolest things that happened. And along with the tech and a bunch of other stuff. And you're going to see some of the people from international, Robert, you might see popping up here and there around the market center. I'm just going to leave it at that. Just going to leave it at that. Nathan did some creative packing on the way home.
That's oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I said that it was me and JV and Nathan on the way home, but I think there were actually like 6 or 7 of us in the truck. I'll let you guys figure out what that means. Yeah. So today's schedule, obviously Robert and I are here now. Robert, good to see you. I know you've been hard at work. We've got next Thursday, mark your
Hmm.
calendars. I think we probably open the front doors before 4:29:59, but from 4:30 to 6 next Thursday, we're going to be celebrating everything that you guys accomplished and butt kicked in 2021. So we have our awards show. We've named it, right? You came up with a great name.
No, I didn't come up with it. This was Alana. Alana came up
Alana
with
came up
this.
with the name, but
Yep.
everybody should know now because I think we sort of like jokingly called them the Kellys last year. They are now called the what, Robert?
The Golden Garys.
The Golden Garys. Does everybody get a Golden Gary? You get a picture of one. We haven't made them yet. Yeah, we could. We'll next year we can get chocolate ones and wrap them in gold foil.
Ooh,
How's that?
that's a good idea.
And we
You know,
and we could
that's a
we
dangerous
could fill
idea
them
though.
with some Sundog 130. Yeah,
Well, I think that's a
yeah,
great idea, but we just got to keep an eye. If we do get chocolate Golden Garys, we're going
yeah,
to have to just make sure we keep an eye on the inventory. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah. Because at that point, I believe Zoe will be out of her a sugar-free 62, which
Yeah.
ends
Yeah.
in a few weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll be ready for that.
Yeah.
So today, 9 o'clock. So we're gonna jump soon because Robert's got stuff to get to. I'm heading off to make sure that Brendan Phelan from UPM can get in the room. He'll be on Keller TV with his investment class that he does every month. That is at 9 o'clock on Keller TV. At 11 o'clock on Keller TV, we're doing profit share. You're unsure why we call it an all partners meeting because we're all partners. Everybody has an opportunity to share in the profitability of the company. We'll have that conversation at 11 o'clock. And then at noon o'clock, there's nothing. It's 1 o'clock, right? With Jen and Jason at 1 o'clock. And then Bradley is at 2 o'clock. So the brokers are at 1 o'clock on
Hmm.
Keller TV and then kwtechtv.com with Robert at 2. That's your opportunity to ask your questions about all the technical questions that you might have. And if you've got a little question, you might have a little answer. If you have a bigger question, you might set some time to answer that later.
Yep.
And you'll be in the green room for that, which is lovely, by the way. Robert just had it refurnished, as I
I
understand.
did. I just refurnished it. Yeah.
I thought for sure when I texted you and Zoe yesterday that it was going to be a work from home day, that you were going to give me the usual, okay, I'll head into the office because you have to do like the bizarro Jerry of whatever we're doing. Yep. But you
Well,
didn't. You didn't say that.
I was out this morning clearing the snow off the car and
Hmm.
for Michelle, and
Such
it's
a good
coming down
husband.
at such a good clip that I
Mhm.
was out there. I finished one side of the car, and I was looked in the and I'm like, oh god, I got to do the other side. So I cleaned the car like 4 times just getting it ready for her. So, but it's coming down pretty good. So I figure get the new snowblower out, the $2,000 snowblower.
Well, yeah. What if your father-in-law put gas in the oil though? How much would it be then?
A lot more.
Yeah, I can speak from experience. It almost doubles the price, which is a pleasure. Do you have an Aaron's?
No, I did, but I got rid of it in favor of a Cub Cadet.
I'm gonna make your day, Robert. I'm gonna have you guess. What do you think that is? If you're like, oh, gross.
Kombucha?
No, Ovaltine.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's what happens when you go to Florida. The next thing you know, you're drinking Ovaltine.
Yeah, I was right with my people. I'm marching around with a whole bunch of old ladies. I'm like, "What's up, baby?" Like, oh, I'm getting phone numbers.
So
Yeah,
how did the bingo go? Did you win it,
yeah. You
bingo?
want to grab dinner later at 4 o'clock after your urinalysis? Yeah,
Golden
yeah,
Corral, baby.
yeah. Oh yeah, cleaned up
Golden
in there.
Corral.
Cleaned up in there. Sylvia, Babs, Florence, they love me. Um. Anyway, so I'm gonna get we're gonna head out so I can finish my
Oh
Haribo
my
twin
god.
snakes. Yeah, these weren't really that good, but they're in the car, and then like I'm cleaning out Nathan's car, and he's like, "You forgot your gummy snakes," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll grab those. Those are
Which
important."
would have been terrible if it was warmer, but it's fine that it's sub-zero.
Yeah, they wouldn't have survived really well. I mean, that was
No.
the other thing. We probably hung around 80, and I think our last day when we were golfing was like 84.
Mm.
And then I got admonished on the way down because I didn't have a go bag because I'm not that cool like everybody else. So like when we got to the first hotel on the way down, everybody grabbed this little tiny bag. And I'm like, oh, I need everything. It's in like my huge bag. So Nathan's going to the
Oh.
back of the truck, pulling up my huge bag. I'm like, I'll be better on the way home. But then on the way home, my go bag, I just had more shorts because I was thinking warm weather. And then we got out of the truck up here and yeah, my old knees froze. It's gonna be fine though. It's gonna be great. We will talk
So,
more about family reunion. I'm sure you'll hear all the stories. We can tell you there were a lot of stories for sure that we will share.
Sue wants you to stop picking on her her Sanka glass.
Um, yeah. Oh yeah. She's that you're a princess when you're drinking your coffee out of a clear glass coffee. Yeah, like that, like she had, yeah. If you go in her office, everything is Waterford crystal. There- There's no there's no ceramic in the Doyle suite. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm drinking Ovaltine out of a pint glass. Yeah.
Oh
It's
man.
gonna be one of those days.
Yep.
Anyway, Robert, we want to remind everybody the contest, the golden ticket. There are now 3 days left. You've got until Monday at midnight to get your submissions in. I do believe I just saw a question coming in from one of our agents that started off, and I could tell they were asking me about a co-list. If you co-listed with somebody, one of you gets the listing. You cannot submit a co-list as it's mine or yours. Like so, if you're co-listing with somebody, one of you gets to use the listing.
We're
We're not
getting
splitting them
close.
in half. Yeah, super close. That is on Monday, and without fail, as Gary said during family reunion, there is a lot of opportunity out there because every time you turn around and have the conversation with your peer or your coach or Robert or Doyle or Nate, and you're like, "Hey, listen, there's no inventory. There's a ton of inventory. We just have not welcomed it into the marketplace. So
Hmm.
there's so much opportunity right now in this country for Keller Williams and certainly in our footprint, which is massive. When we're down there talking to people, and and everybody's got their own experience. I'm talking to other coaches, and they've got a single building market center with 175 agents. Cool. That sounds fun. We've got such a monster company and we can affect so much change for so many people, and we need to lean into that and have those conversations. So I trust that you guys are gobbling up your listings. It's signed listings by the end of the month. And all the details are there on how to submit. We'll be looking for your list of all your signed listings. If there is a tie, we will go to volume. That's how we're
Hmm.
going to do the tiebreaker. And the prizes, of course, are Mega Camp. We should talk about that real quick. August 22nd and 23rd. Mega Camp for agents is August 22nd and 23rd, and that is in Austin. And I can guarantee it's going to be about 160 degrees. It's a dry heat, which people say all the time, which is fascinating to me because if you turn your oven on and put your head in the oven, that's also a dry heat and also unpleasant. Beautiful city, though. If you like music and Gary and food and cocktails and Gary and music and heat, you should go to Austin for sure. So that's coming up. So we'll have a ticket for that. Your conference ticket will be paid for by the Market Center if you want to grab that for first prize, or we're doing the $500 from marketing. Well, you can put it towards marketing, or you can put it towards your office fee or whatever, however you want to spend it. Maps coaching. And then above and beyond that, I think we left the last one, as always, is Massimo's. $100 for Manicotti at Massimo's, which if Michael Whitney's in the mix, he always takes them Massimo's, which is actually a really smart move because he's already in Maps coaching and he's probably going to Mega Camp anyway. So it is what it is. I've rambled enough. I've got to finish my Ovaltine.
You
So I
gotta
can get my head
go.
straight. Gotta go.
You
We
gotta
gotta
finish
go.
the Ovaltine before it like hardens.
The proper word, Robert, is coagulate. And
Ugh.
now that you said that, I will, because I have a meeting with Kaylee later. I'm going to wait until this is coagulated. And then I'm going to let it slug down the glass and then plop into my throat. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back.
God. Okay, I'm gonna hit the finish button now.
I love that. I love the
Okay.
finish button.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm hitting the finish button. Are you done making me like yeah.